Hey, thanks for joining us tonight on our Wednesday night experience here at OpenDoor Church. Get ready for a great worship set followed by an awesome word by Pastor Troy Brewer. Hey, don't forget to share this on your social media page and be that social media missionary that you are. Thank you for joining us.
Hungry, I come to you, for I know you satisfy. I am empty, but I know your love does not run dry. So I'll wait for you. So I'll wait for you. I'm falling on my knees, offering all of me. Jesus, you're all this heart is living for. Broken, I run to you, for your arms are open wide. I am weary, but
And all we want and all we need is found in Jesus, and all we ask is more of you, and nothing else can satisfy our heart's desire, and all we want is more of you, more of you. Because the Lord is good and His love endures. Yes, the Lord is good forever, and I'll shout it out from the mountain tops. Yes, the Lord is good forever, and all we want and all we need is found in Jesus, and all we ask is more of you. 'Cause nothing else can satisfy our heart's desire, and all we want is more of you, more of you. And the Lord is good and His love endures. Yes, the Lord is good forever, and I'll shout it out from the mountain tops. The Lord is good forever. Yes, the Lord is good and His love endures. Yes, the Lord is good forever, and I'll shout it out from the mountain tops. Yes, the Lord is good forever. Oh, we want you, Lord. Oh, more and more. Oh, Lord. We want you more and more. We want you more and more. We want you more and more, more and more. We want you more and more. We want you more and more. We want the Lord is good forever, and I'll shout it out from the mountain tops. Yes, the Lord is good forever. Oh, oh, you are good, Lord. Oh, we want more of you. Oh, and all we want and all we need is found in Jesus, and all we ask is more of you, Lord, and nothing else can satisfy our heart's desire, and all we want is more of you, more of you. Thank you, Lord. Oh, we worship you. Oh, we want you more and more. We want you more and more. We want you more and more, more and more. We want you more and more. We want you more and more. We want you more and more, more and more.
Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, Lord. Whatever you want to, whatever you want to.
Here is where I lay it down, every burden, every crown. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. Here is where I lay it down, every lie and every doubt. This is my surrender. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want
tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Oh, shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition, break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, Lord. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Take everything I know, throw it out the window. Rebuild my foundation. I'm letting go. I'm letting go of all control. Shake up the ground. Break down the walls. 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 Shake up the ground. Shake it up. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. 'Cause your way is better. Your way is better. Hallelujah. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake it up. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to, God. I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. And I will make room for you to do whatever you want to do whatever you want to. Here is where I lay it down. You are all I'm chasing now. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. This is my surrender. This is my surrender.
of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Shake up the ground of all my tradition. Break down the walls of all my religion. Your way is better. Your way is better. Oh, your way is better. Your way is better. Oh, your way is better. Oh,
Hello friends, Troy Brewer from OpenDoor Church coming at you strong, and it's fall time. Now fall time for me has always meant Fall Fest. Why? Because we love kids and we love to celebrate. And guys, listen, the harvest is such a huge kingdom thing to celebrate. Come out and celebrate this year, because this year we're going to have the greatest Fall Fest ever. What are we doing? Dude, we hired an entire carnival team, a true carnival, to come in and set up at the Open Door parking lot. Guys, we're going to have all kinds of cool carnival rides. We're going to have all kinds of cool carnival games. You know how much it's going to cost you? Nada. Zip. Nothing. All you got to do is show up. Now, guys, we're also going to have food trucks. We're going to be doing, it's going to have really cool carnival food. Come on, you know what I'm talking about. You know we like to eat at Open Door Church. And then on top of all that, we're going to be doing these huge raffles and huge giveaways all throughout the night. And you know what they're all about? They're all about staycations. I'm talking about family of four to Jellystone Park, family of four to Great Wolf Lodge for several nights, family of four, everything paid for at Six Flags Over Texas. Oh yeah, listen, we're all about family, and guys, we are going to have a blast. We're going to be having costume contests, all kinds of fun stuff. And friends, this year, we're going to be starting on Saturday, October the 31st, and it starts at 5:30. We are going to do our raffles at 8:45, and then we're closing it down at 9 o'clock. Every single kid is going to leave there with a ton of free candy as well. I want to invite you to come out, and for more information, simply go to opendoorexperience.com, or you can call 877-413-0888. I will see you at the Fall Fest. Boom.
Well, hello there, everybody, and thank you again for tuning in to this Wednesday night experience at Open Door Church. You know, we just got done with amazing worship, but now we get to worship the Lord in a different way because it's our offering time. And let me just tell you, I want to give you a few victory reports and also some things that we're doing behind the scenes that Pastor Troy might not really mention at the pulpit, because a lot of the times there's so much stuff going on here at Open Door Church that we have to pick and choose what we can announce and what we don't announce. And so I get an opportunity to announce a few things that he hasn't announced yet. So one thing I do want to update you on is the lady that her house burnt down in Glen Rose, and we decided that we were all going to get together and build her a new house. Thank you guys so much for partnering with us in that. I have such a praise report, a victory report. We are actually just moving in her home. It's all getting completed. We can say, yay, look at what the Lord has done. He has completed this assignment, because we know the Lord is faithful to complete a thing that he has started. And he started it by bringing this woman to us, and we continue to partner with him. And now look at the spoils of the war. She has her place for her and her family, and they don't have to worry now about where they're going to find shelter. They have found shelter with the Lord, with all of us, because we've decided to help get her a house no matter the cost. Another cool thing that really is just something impromptu, almost like this lady in Glen Rose, is that Pastor Troy was down in Walnut Springs when we were doing the food bank outreach, and he came across a lady who has been there consistently, that after telling Pastor Troy about how great things were going for her, because things really were going great for her. She was getting a job, she has gotten a new vehicle, she has a place to stay, and just things were really looking up for her. But she did have an issue with her vehicle, and her vehicle did break down on her, and so she broke down on Pastor Troy and was just like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. You know, all these things are looking up, but still this stuff is happening for me. And moved with compassion, like Pastor Troy always does, he called our team with Answer International, and he was like, you know what, we need to have an answer to this problem. We need to help her even more. She is vulnerable, she is young, and we need to help her. And so that's what we're doing. We're helping her not only with her house, because the Lord doesn't just stop with your need, but he goes into your hearts, your wants, and your desires as well. And so the Lord is letting us and helping us to help her to get her car, but also to look over her finances and help her with her bills, to get her on her feet and let her see that she can really live an abundant life with King Jesus. That's the message that we have for her. That's the message that we have for you. The Lord wants to give you abundantly more than what you can thank for or ask for. And you know, even some of the smaller things, we had a Romanian family that has came as a refugee, and we've been helping them with diapers and with things for their family just to get them, they have a hard time speaking English. It's just really hard to get accustomed to this new life here in America, and we are still we're still helping them with their rent, where they're living. We are still helping them with their groceries. We're providing them groceries so that they don't go hungry as they continue to try to just go through this citizenship and find a place here in America. We say you are welcome here. We love you, King Jesus loves you, and we want to make sure that whatever we can do to help the needy, to help the poor, to help the vulnerable, whatever that looks like, we don't have a system, we don't have a blueprint for it. We can't tell you exactly what we help and exactly what we don't help. We typically help whatever we can. So do you want us to continue to say yes as these things come across to us? Do you want us to continue to help those in our local community as well as all over the world in just helping them whenever we see a need, whatever that need may be, not picking and choosing what those needs are and not looking at a need and thinking it's too big, because nothing's too big for our God, right? So help us in that. You can help us continue this mission. Your money that you do, whenever you give us your offerings, whenever you tithe, whenever you partner with us, when you give money towards Open Door Church, it's going towards these type of things, as well as all the victory reports that Pastor Troy tells you about on Sundays and on Wednesdays. You know, there's so much that we do. It reminds me of how in the Bible it says that the Lord did so many miracles, like the books couldn't even contain it. Well, that's what we do here at Open Door Church. We are living epistles, and we can't write and tell you about all the stuff that we're doing, but we can promise you without a doubt that you are giving to a church that is alive and that is willing to go after the heart of God in our community and in our world. So partner with us. How do you do that? You text to give ODCEXP to 77977. So that word is ODCEXP, and that number is 77977. Or if you'd like, you can go online to www.opendoorexperience.com/giving. You can give your tithes and offerings there. You can set up automatic payments. It's really simple right there at our website. Or if you'd like, we have a 24-hour praying calling center that we have staffed and ready and willing to not only take your call and take your offering, but also pray with you, declare a thing. If you want to sow a seed and you want to believe for something, call 877-413-0888 and allow us to partner with you, to stand in agreement with you. And if you need help knowing what can I give my money towards, what are the immediate needs, that's a great number to call, 877-413-0888. If you want to jump in, if you want to help us, if you want to volunteer, if you want to partner on a monthly basis, I'm telling you, you want to call 877-413-0888. There is also a P.O. box right there on the screen. I know that you can see it. It's right down at the bottom. And so if you have a money order, a check, a cashier's check, you can always send it right there to that P.O. box. It's a secured place to send it, and we will definitely get it. You want to address that to Open Door Church. All right, you guys, that's all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for partnering with us. Thank you so much for continuing this cause that we have to show the love of the Father to all of those who need it, no matter what their social status is, no matter what situation they are in their life, no matter what. We're here to be King Jesus, not because of their merit, but by his merit, by King Jesus's merit. It's him that sets everyone free. We just show them the way. All right, so now it is time for Pastor Troy's word. I'm super excited to get into this. You know what? We are Open Door, and Pastor Troy is about to go into exactly what that means. So you're here for a good message. Share this message, like this message, comment below where you're watching us from, and remember, the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords loves you so much. Bye, you guys.
Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul, I worship his holy name. Sing like never before, oh my The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. I worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul.
Well, hello everybody. Blessing and peace on you in the mighty name of King Jesus. Troy Brewer coming at you strong on a big time Wednesday night. Welcome guys. Chocolate almond. Welcome guys to the Wednesday night experience. Everybody knows he ain't playing. The brother, we've been eating chocolate almonds. We've been passing it around. And anyway, guys, I want to bless you guys. Hey, man, be sure to like this and share this and all this kind of stuff. You're going to like this because last week, man, we started talking about, hey, man, we want you to sign up. We want you to sign up. We want you to jump in. We want you to be a part. And like, what do I got to do? What do I got to do? Sign up. Go through the 101, 201, 301, 401. We encourage you to be a part of a community group. We encourage you to plug in and jump in. Like, what are you waiting on? Well, we're waiting for a committee to approve. We don't have that here. We're not doing that. And so what we're saying is jump in. The water is warm. We've been doing this for a long, long, long time. And you have a place with us. We don't just have a seat for you. We have a place of activated ministry for you. And you're perfect. You're perfect for that. Did you bring me something to drink? So all you guys, everybody watching live online, y'all just talk amongst yourself for a minute. I got to get chocolate out of my teeth anyway. I think I'm good. Very discreet. I'm as subtle as a meat hammer. Can. Okay. So we're talking about signing up, what you got to do and how you got to do it. Last week we talked about the 4 at Open Door, which who can tell me what is the first of the 4 at Open Door? Celebration, man. Listen, we're always going to be in a good mood. We're always going to be happy. We're always going to be ready to receive you. We're always going to be ready for a move of God, which brings us to the second one, which is what? Inspiration. That's a move of God. We believe God wants to move every single time we are here. We believe that the Spirit of the Lord is always ready, that He's always hovering over the face of the deep, right? He's always just like, all right, I'm ready, man, let's do this. So we got to be excited about that, and we're ready. Well, which brings us to number 3. What is it all about? Preparation. Yeah, that means you're not going to show up here and we go, well, we just feel like we're supposed to be like led by the Spirit because we've been smoking dope all our life and we don't like to make plans because it gives us a headache. That ain't us. So we will have our act together. Now, us having our act together, it depends on what your barometer is for that, but this is the deal. We will be prepared and we're going to be ready. And that brings us to the last one, which is what? Salvation. Yeah, man, we're going to have altar calls. We're going to ask you to receive Jesus. If you've been trying to get your son here 10 million times and he finally comes, there's going to be an altar call that day. And we want to reach him for Jesus. This is actually the prayer tent where we all get together and our elders pray in here, which is really cool. I'm going to have to get me another drink. Man, that almond is tearing me up. What do y'all go ahead and talk amongst yourself. I got to. There's something in my throat, man. I got to get it out. Listen, we take ourselves extremely serious here at Open Door Church. Okay, so. Listen, here's what's funny. What's funny is we don't care if anybody else thinks we're funny. We think we're funny. And that's what makes it great. Yeah, that's why we celebrate. That's exactly right. Church is just too hard not to have fun. Right on? You guys agree with that? It's just too hard not to have fun, man. We have to have fun. It's good. So today we're going to get into our core and principle values, our core principles and values, I should say. And we're going to talk about that because that's what defines the culture. And then I'm going to say to you, now I've told you what you can expect out of us. Now I'm going to tell you what I would like to expect out of you. And then I'm going to say, now that we got all that down together, sign up and let's do this. Okay, so here's part 2. All right, so is everybody ready to do this? Okay, so I think that one of the most important things that we have to do as people of God is we have to be catalysts for the culture. You cannot sit back and let somebody who wants to destroy everything tell you, no, this is what you'll say, this is how you will think, and this is how you will refer to things. You don't do that. You draw a line there and go, no, actually, I'm going to do this, I'm going to think this, and I'm going to do that, and you're going to love me for it. And you have to have an attitude that's like that. It's been very difficult for all of us as freedom lovers to wear a mask everywhere. Hang on, I got some in my teeth. I'm good. And like, okay, because you go from one restaurant to another restaurant, from one state to another state, from one city to another, it's a completely different narrative depending upon what people are into. Are they into this one thing? You're not being respectful of me unless you're fearful. That's a lie. I'll be completely respectful of you, but I'm not going to be fearful. Well, then you don't have both oars in the water. There's something wrong with you. No, you're the one drinking the Kool-Aid, not me, right? Okay, and then on the other hand, too, you don't want to be mad at people that do want to mask up and walk around in a hazmat suit with gloves on. I mean, people literally swim with gloves on and mask on. And they don't, again, the truth is not in them, and truth doesn't matter to them. There's no reality to who they are and how they live. I've literally seen people swimming with gloves and masks on. And what are they doing? They're making a point. They're trying to set a culture. That's what they're trying to do. They're not trying to protect themselves or anybody else. They're trying to set a culture, and they know that they need to. Well, just exactly like that, I wish the body of Jesus would wake up to that and go, we as Christians, we as people of God, we as ambassadors of heaven, we need to set a tone and a culture everywhere we go. And sadly, the church has, the times that we have been really good at doing this throughout the centuries, it has always had an attachment of control with it. And like, hey, we're going to set a culture and we're going to control everybody. No, that ain't Jesus. You guys agree with that? That ain't Jesus. And so it's like, no, you don't have to be controlling and you don't have to be ugly to set a tone. You know, it's kind of like there's a culture that everybody objects to, and then there's a culture that something can happen and switch, and they will see the value of it just like that if you'll be the light in the midst of that. It's like one of the things I say, nobody cares if you're a Jesus freak if the plane is going down. Not one person is going to object. Nobody cares. Suddenly everybody sees the value of that, right? I think of that incredibly brave pastor's wife who was on that Alaska Airlines plane that crashed. If you guys know the story of her, they literally turned, if you guys have seen that Denzel Washington movie about the airplane and he's a pilot and all that, that was based upon, the problem that they had on that plane was based upon that Alaskan Airlines flight where the plane, the part of the tail broke. And it just was in a slow decline, and they couldn't make it stop. They couldn't make it stop. And so what they did was they actually inverted the plane, hoping, but they waited too late. The last words the guy ever said was, "We're inverted." He was trying to fly it upside down to make it go up again, and they crashed in the ocean. Last 10 minutes of that flight, a woman was on the speaker leading everybody on that plane to Jesus. Amen. They turned it over to her. And you can hear her in the background telling everybody about the love of God and praying for people. And you can hear her, and they turned the speaker over to that woman. And I've just thought about that and thought about that and thought about that and thought about that. Just like, you know, it's just how brave she was and just how the Spirit of the Lord was so good to offer peace on a plane that's going down, to offer redemption and salvation on a plane that's going down. And just like, man, God is good. He's just so good. Well, you gotta be in a place to where everybody knows you're that person in order for that to happen. And so you have to be able to do that. Well, you can't do that correctly unless you really understand what's important and what's not important. And you're going to have to decide that. And you're going to have to make those decisions based upon something. And for us, it's the Word of God and it's the presence of the Lord, right? But you're going to have to base that on something. I said this in a meeting we had the other day, that random becomes the partner of the enemy. And the enemy literally is always looking for random. He's always looking for it. And if you just randomly live a lifestyle that your core values and the principles of your life are extremely random, you got to stand for something or you'll fall for anything, right? So you have to be decisive. It's like you can make huge mistakes with your kids if you don't truly map out what's important and what's not important. And you'll make huge mistakes because you'll be right about things that's in the moment, but ultimately it's bad for your kids. Like I had to decide, is it more important for me to have straight lines in my yard, or is it more important for my kid to be proud of the fact that he mowed the yard?
That's right.
Okay, and I want to tell you, that was a hard thing for me because I'm a straight line guy. And I can remember Ben, the first time I had him mow, I showed him, hey man, this is what you do, man. This is what you do. I want you to do it just like this. And then, he went out there and I went out there to slap him on the back and he's just doing it Ben Brewer way. I'm like, what are you, drunk? And all that. And I remember just this look on his little boy face and said, Daddy, why do you care? I thought you wanted me to mow the lawn, And I went, I ain't doing that. And I went, okay, here's the deal. I'm going to have to clean up this because you're going to make a mess. But you're right. Let's just learn how to mow the yard first. Okay? I'm a straight line guy. I want you to try and do straight lines, but if you get out of the line, it's not. I had to shift and go, this priority and this value, it needs to be changed. And just to be able to recognize that. Now, here's what I did. I let him mow it however he wanted to, and then I made him watch how long it took me to clean up. You see that, man? I don't want it to clean that up. So if you'll do it this way, I won't have to come back behind you and I won't have to clean it up. But then that way, I still got to honor him and bless him because he went out and mowed it was a good dad moment. And I don't have a whole lot of those, but I can just remember the Lord speaking to me and showing me that. And when I saw how frustrated he was, like, you just want to come out here and yell at me? You just want to, really, that's what mowing the yard is all about, is I'm in trouble the whole time? He didn't say any of that, but I could just see, he was like, what the heck? And I'm like, no, I got to change that. Okay, well, just exactly like that, and I want you to think about the value that you have to be able to recognize in your life to be able to change that. You're like, no, I got a greater value for there being peace in my house and a greater value for my child than I do for my neighbors being impressed with my lawn. They should be impressed that I'm out here with my boy mowing the lawn. That's what they should be impressed with. And if you can't define those things, you'll randomly change your values constantly, and you will live an entirely unstable life, and all of your relationships will always be unstable. And it's so much like that for church, man, when it comes to the culture of a church. Any culture, whether it's a police union or a motorcycle gang, is determined by the things that the leader has decided, these are the things we value. This is what's important. This is what we're going to make a big deal out of. This is what we're going to celebrate. This is what we never allow. And somebody has decided that, and then a team of people formed around that person, and that's what determines what the culture is. So that is a godly principle. And so we have to be determined, do we know what it is that we make a big deal out of? Okay, well, it's not your responsibility as the team. It is my responsibility as the senior leader at OpenDoor to define that. And if I do not define that, the meanest person in our church will be happy to rise up and define it. The most disruptive person. There's a lot of people that are not mean, but they're disruptive to everything. And I want to tell you, you get those people off your team. You're like, bye. You're just disruptive. You can never be a part of what we're doing. You have 10 million objections. You have 10 million problems. You have 10 million this. You're always doing something else. You got to be louder than everybody else. You got to do this. And a demon will attach itself to disruptive people the same as it will attach itself to mean people or people with evil agendas. There's a place in the Bible in the book of Acts where Paul is moving into town. He's doing the works of the Lord, and there is a woman going with him, and she's yelling, "These men are true men of God. These men are awesome. These people, do they not speak the words of truth?" Yada, yada, yada. And they finally made her stop, and they cast a devil out of her. Like, oh, gosh, she was, she was the town crier, man. That was what, no, she was a disruptor. And she was trying to own the culture, right? And she came from a demonic background that said, you got to take over the culture. So say whatever you need to say, do whatever you got to do. Just make sure that you're the person that gets to dictate the culture. And like, wow, and Paul had enough sense to cast a demon out of her. Right on? All right, so doesn't that just make you think of a million things, right? It's one of the reasons too that unless it is extraordinary circumstances, I don't allow anybody to disrupt my meetings. You're not going to do that. But I got a word from God. Everybody in here that's a Christian has a word from God. But I got a tongue. Well, everybody in here can talk. Everybody in here has got a tongue. But I really feel inspired to do this. You don't have the authority to come in here and do this, and we're not letting you do that. I'm sorry. I don't know what realms you move in that you think it's your job to take over the culture of the house, but we're not going to allow you to do that. We don't know you. And I've actually said that from the pulpit successfully one time and then unsuccessfully another time, where one time a guy stood up in the middle of the service while I was preaching. The Spirit of the Lord was moving. He got up and he spoke in tongues, and we waited, and it went on for a long time. I could feel the Lord in it. I could tell this is not some demoniac or whatever. He had a word from the Lord. He just didn't have any sense on how you do that. Okay? Which is fine. I wasn't going to throw stones at him. When it was all over with, I just said stop, and just to illustrate, I said, how many of y'all, it's the first time in here you've ever seen anything like that happen? Whole room is like, what? Okay, now, thank you, sir. You just dictated how my service has to go. You don't get to do that to me. I'm not going to go to your house and do that in your house. I'm not going to go to your ministry and do that. I'm not going to show up and say, but I'm anointed to disrupt what you do. No, you're not. And you're out of your tree. What I said was, I told everybody in front of him, I said, sir, I don't want to shame you in any way. I felt the Lord in what you were doing, but you're out of order. I don't know who you are, and you have no authority here. You guys remember me doing that? Yeah. So then I said, I want to politely say in front of this man, anybody else feel like doing that? Go out in the street and go do that. Do not do that in here. I've got 22 minutes left and another service after this. I have a lot of people to bring Jesus to today. And I thought, we'll never see that guy again. He became a big part of our church, and he's awesome. Super good guy. Had another knucklehead just a few weeks ago that he stood up and took over the service for a long time. And I waited for a long time. And then he sat down and I said, thank you for your word. I want you, but listen, I need to talk to you and I need to tell everybody. I said, guys, how many of y'all it's the first time? And everybody was like, what the heck, See, everybody's not used to being at a church that actually evangelizes and has 1,000 new faces every week. They've never dealt with that before, and I'm not going to try and explain it to them. Okay, I don't have time to explain it to people that only understand small church. I don't have time to explain that, So, I'm sure that the first time they ever went and met, their mother-in-law, their father-in-law, they didn't walk over, kick in the door, and start screaming and speaking in tongues. Okay, well, why not? If you felt the urge to do it, why didn't you do that? Because the relationship matters. Oh, well, it also happens to matter here. That's why. And I get it, and you're not going to do that to me. So whenever the guy got done, I started addressing him and saying, look, guys, this is totally legitimate, man. A word like that is totally legitimate. What's not legitimate is I don't know who this guy is, and I'm not asking him to do. And then he stood up while I was saying that, and he went off again for a long time. And I waited, and I said, thank you very much, but I want you to stop doing that, okay? And again, God didn't give me a pulpit to shame people. I don't want to shame that guy. But when he stood up the third time and started going off, I said, somebody lay hands on that brother and drag him out kicking and screaming. Out. Get him out. I was like, get out of my building. Were you guys here when that happened? Yep. Okay, and then I felt so bad for him. I felt so bad for his wife. I'm sure that they're good people. But there's a lot of good people that will be happy to destroy absolutely everything you are doing because they feel good about doing that. And, well, why is your ministry so much more important than our ministry? It's not. But this is my ministry. And, I don't know how many people you're going to feed this week. I know how many people we're going to feed this week, and it won't happen if the church doesn't happen. I don't know how many girls you're going to save this year out of sexual slavery. I know how many I'm going to, and it doesn't happen if I let you disrupt and tear down my church. So I get it. I totally get it. I also get it that there's always a warfare over culture, always. So you got to have values. Like, Pastor Troy, don't you have a value for the presence of God? Absolutely, I have a value for the presence of God. Don't you have a value for the supernatural? Yes, I do. I promise I do. I promise I do. Well, then where is that? We have an encounter service on Saturday nights, and I promise you, you can stand up and miss that encounter service whenever you want to and just yell out like a dadgum Comanche Indian, and nobody cares. We have a prayer tent that goes on all through praise and worship. We have altars, and in the midst of all that, we're doing tons and tons and tons of other kinds of ministry that you're not respectful of, but we are respectful of. Right on? And so that's a hard thing to navigate. But how you navigate it is just you got to know what God's called you to do. You got to know who God's called you to be, and you got to have those values. And then I want to say this also: you're going to get it wrong. Sometimes you're just going to get it wrong, and when you get it wrong, man, you got to be willing to go back and go, that's not the way I want to be, and that's not what I want to do. No, you know what? I don't feel like we hit the mark in that. So, when it comes to our core values and principles, this is not something we always accomplish. It's something that we go after. Right on? Number one, core values. Unity makes us a conduit for God's power. Yep. Number one is unity, and unity is not agreement. Unity is covenant. Right on? Unity is not you make everybody think like you, vote like you, act like you. That ain't unity. That's control. Is what that is. Unity is actually covenant. I love that. So we really respect the unified house. The most basic thing you can do, and I'm going to say this when I tell everybody, hey, if you're going to sign up for this, there's 4 things I expect of you, and one is you protect the unity of your church. And what it means to protect the unity of the church is you never sign up with a mob, and you never start a mob, ever. Just simple. You need to have a core value that says, I do not start mobs, and I do not join mobs. Right? Yes. Okay. Number 2, we value character before charisma. Oh, I love that one. Number 3, we express the nature of God. The expression and the demonstration of God's heart and God's goodness is huge to me. I don't want to get up and read verses and say, the Father is good, the Father is good, the Father is good, if Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and the rest of Sunday, we're not demonstrating that the Father is good. I want to do that. Number 4, all of life is spiritual. Oh, I love that one. It's not about a job, it's about a lifestyle. It's about living a life, it's not about doing a job. Sometimes it's just as godly to take your kid to a baseball game as it is to take your kid to church. It all belongs to Jesus. Right on? How many pastors have you ever heard say that? Yeah, no, it's real. It's real. Now, if you're on a leadership team and every Sunday you're at a baseball game, that's going to be an issue. But you said, okay. Number 5, the kingdom is progressive. We're always going to the next level, always. Concerning his kingdom and of his peace, there should be no end. Right? Number 6, we are thermostats and not thermometers. We are trendsetters. We are atmosphere setters. We have a huge value for we set the tone and not somebody else. Number 7, we choose covenant over contract. It's a really big deal. Well, I brought this, and you only brought this. Okay, if we live that life among us, what's real is we're constantly sizing each other up. And again, that falls into the Great Commission and doesn't fall into the Great Commandment, and it's a mess. Number 8, we seek and embrace the supernatural side of God. I cannot tell you how the Bible Belt hates the supernatural side of God. And we are right in the midst of the Bible Belt. And we have to be supernatural people. We will not make it if we do not have the manifest presence of God. Right on? Okay, number 9, connected for kingdom purpose. You guys hear me say all the time that I never, ever go looking for ministry to do, ever. I just pay attention to what the Lord is bringing me. And when he sets something down in front of me, I go, oh, okay, I know what this is. I'm looking for the kingdom of the day. And God brought me this, God brought me that. I'm going to pay attention to that. But I also know that just exactly like that, the relationships that I have and that I have built in a lifetime of serving the Lord, I have to be prepared to share those relationships with you. And you have to be prepared to share your relationships with me. The network that God has trusted us with in all of our journey, since our journeys have come together, our networks belong to each other. And in my mind, my network is your network, and your network is my network. It's one of the things that we've had to really discuss in Raising Up Spark, and Troy Brewer Ministries, and Answer International, and OpenDoor Church. Like, okay, what do we do? How do we protect our network? And when should we protect our network? And how does that work? Like, one of the things that'll happen is we meet some brother in Uganda, and then he says, hey, can I have your Facebook? And then, will you contact me? And then he goes and gets all of our Facebook people, and then he goes and starts hitting them up saying, I'm thinking about building an orphanage. No, you're not going to do that to us. That we're not sharing that with you. Because we're there to build an orphanage, and we're already building an orphanage, okay? At the same exact time, there are people that we raise up in this church and through our ministry that they are inspired by us, and they want to do their own thing. And what's really, we bless it. Why would we not bless that? It's like, no, we're the only people in Johnson County who can feed people. No, we're not. And as a matter of fact, not only do we need a few more churches, we need a lot more churches doing what it is that we do. And we do not compete. It's non-competitive. We bless it. We celebrate it. We make a big deal out of it. Now, they might not know to do that because they don't have a culture that does that. But if we do it long enough, it's liable to rub off on them. Right? So connected for kingdom purpose is a really big deal to me. That's big. Heaven is reproducing through me. God hates barrenness. I love fruit bearing. I love the reproduction that happens. That was one of the things I was just talking about. Like, I want to give you guys a prime example. Jeff and Shanna Peacock, who are good friends of mine, big part of our ministry, always have been, still are. They started a ministry in Cleburne called Shine. Okay, S-H-I-N-E, and because they had a burden for hungry kids in the schools. And he told me, hey, I'm going to do this, and we're going to make this thing happen, and we're going to have, every single school is going to have a food pantry. I want to put food in it, yada, yada, yada. Will you help me do that? And they took us out, and I mean, they point blank said, will you please bless this? We don't want you to think we're competing with you guys. I'm like, dude, we're not doing work in Cleburne schools. Thank you. And then they saw what great need there was, and then they talked to the guy at the Cleveland Railroaders and said, we need to do an actual food bank outreach here every other Saturday. And so, how could we not be proud of that? Why would we be jealous of that in any way? That's ridiculous. It's wonderful that they're doing that. It's wonderful. And they're working hard doing it. I mean, hard. And I'm just so proud of them, and I'm just so grateful. So heaven is reproducing through me. Right? Restoration is greater than punishment. That's number 11. If you have a value for restoration more than you do for punishment, your church will look more like heaven than it does like hell. Amen. Let's see here. Blessed to be a blessing. When it comes to finances, what's real is I live my life as if I'm daring God to outgive me. And I think about it all the time. It's like, God's like, oh, really? You want to step up your game? Like, okay, it's going to cost you big, Troy. It's going to cost you. Okay. But it's really going to cost you. You're going to give until it hurts. You're going to give until it doesn't make sense. You're going to give until you question why you give the way that you give. You're going to do that. Okay, but Lord, will you meet me there? Yes, I will meet you there. Okay, then I'm blessed to be a blessing. And I want to tell you, I had a big time problem for years and years and years and years and years of being blessed and being afraid of what people might think, all those kinds of things, until I got it, I'm blessed to be a blessing. And then once I decided, no, I can be blessed because I'm blessed to be a blessing, then I'm like, I ain't blessed near enough. I need a greater blessing in my life. And boom. That's a big core value to have. 13, stewardship and not ownership. That's a really good one, right? We're all going to have to hand this back to Jesus someday, right? Number 14, I am made to accomplish vision. You do not randomly accomplish vision. You strategically accomplish vision. There actually has to be discipline in your life to be able to accomplish big vision. Ugh. I live with an awareness that nothing is impossible. I want to live in a constant awareness, and I want to be surrounded by people who live in a constant awareness that nothing is impossible. Nothing is. And I don't want to be surrounded by anybody else. So I want it to be a huge part of the culture of our house that, you know, when our sweet friend finds her baby at the bottom of the swimming pool, we immediately don't go into mourning. We immediately go into activating and engaging the kingdom because we say nothing is impossible. Amen. And I praise God for that. I'm so proud of our church over that whole issue. How old is that little boy? He's 3? Is he a 3-year-old little boy? He's 3 years old, and he's alive and well. And it's just such a great miracle. And that's, by the way, that's a this year miracle. Yes. You know, Angel, you are a this year miracle.
That happened just days before the Lord gave me my little.
So you literally flatlined. Twice. You literally flatlined.
4 minutes.
Dead for 4 minutes.
But the Lord told me He had to break my heart like His is broken for the world. And that's what the
Wow.
doctor said. To this day, they said my heart is
I had
perfect,
to break
and the only
my
thing
heart.
that happened, they call it a heartbreak event.
A heartbreak event is what that was called. I'm sorry to repeat you, but I'm talking for everybody that's watching online because I can't hear you. So you actually, it was called a heartbreak event, and you went into cardiac arrest, your heart broke, you died twice, you were dead for 4 minutes. And that's this year. And God literally raised you up. And I mean, here in the midst of all that, and then you fought horrible cancer. And in the midst of all that, you have to be surrounded by people that live in the constant awareness that nothing is impossible.
Amen. That's
Right on. And so, yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Well, we're all proud of you, and we love you so much. I mean, big time. Okay, that's number 15. And then what else? I'm supposed to have 16 core values, and there's 15. I know what the last one is, but I don't have it on there. It's no matter the cost. So no matter the cost. And no matter the cost is, you either do it or you don't do it. So when you assess the cost of something, it's in the preliminary stage of, are you willing to get involved? But if you're going to get involved and say, I'm going to do it, I'm going to be involved, and I'm going to do this ministry, but only to this degree. Okay, what's real is, it's going to require more than that degree. And so I'm not saying that you do not assess, like, well, what about Jesus? Jesus said no man builds a house unless he determines how much it costs first. I understand he says that. It's not about, do you have enough money? It's, are you willing to finish the house? That's what he's talking about. If you go, well, I can't finish this house. Well, then you need to determine that before you start building. It's not about money. There's never a warning where God says, go after God, but be careful because you might not have enough money. Does anybody know that verse? Because that's not part of it. What he's assessing is, are you willing to go all the way with that? And sometimes you need to look at it and go, no, that's going to take too much time. It's going to take too much energy. It's going to take too much. I don't have a big yes in my spirit about this right now. That's Pauline's language. That changed my life. I heard her say that this year. I went, yes, I needed that language. I had to have a yes in my spirit because I do. But there are some times in the midst of my yes, I do not have a peace about it. And I go, I don't know what I'm missing, but I'm missing something. Okay, let's not engage in that right now, and let's get all these things finished before we start that. But it's not, are you going to have enough money? It's not that. So if you keep track, like we have this huge issue, and I'm telling you, it's hard. I should be able at the end of the year, I should be able to give a list, and I should be able to print it. That is the most impressive thing anybody has ever seen of what all we've accomplished. I tell everybody at the beginning of the year, I want your stuff. Nobody ever gives it to me. You know why? Because we don't have a culture of doing that. And I still want it, by the way. I would love to have it every single month. Hey, we did this, we did that, we did this, we did that, we did that. And at the end of the year, I would like to have, because I have a huge value for celebration. But what's real is, we don't keep count. Because we've already decided we're going to do it. And I love that. If you keep count of everything you do, I promise you the day will come, very quickly you'll go, I've done too much. You will. I know what I'm talking about. And you'll do that for your marriage. You'll do that with your relationship with your kids, with your family. You will definitely do that in this church. And so this is what I say, either do it or not. Nobody's making you do anything. Nobody is making you do anything. Every single one of us are smart. Every single one of us could work wherever we want to work. We could do whatever we want to do. This is a life that we choose, and what's real is there's a high cost to live in the life that we choose. And we just said yes is what we're going to do, and we're going to figure it out, and we're going to work it out, and we're not going to keep track. If you keep track, you will battle depression.
Good word.
How many of you guys believe I know what I'm talking about? And I just want to just encourage you and just say that value of no matter the cost is a huge value. And just, no, I'm going to be passionate. I've already got my core principles and values of the things I'm going to be engaged in. I know the kind of things that God brings to me. And if I say yes to anything, I don't care what the cost is. I just don't care. But you have to. You're going to be irresponsible. No, I would be irresponsible to not be engaged in it if that's what God has called me to do. Now, I got to have a team of people and I got to figure it out. And we're going to have issues. But that whole thing of no matter the cost is just also about your time and about whatever. And I'm not saying that you don't need to manage your time, because you do. And that's something we can get a whole lot better at around here is time management and those kinds of things. But I'm just saying that if you say yes, you're saying yes all the way. And that's what you're doing. And that's something that God will absolutely bless. So those are my 16 core values and principles. And for everybody that's watching online, you can actually get your copy of this. Where do they get that at?
We'll have it on the website.
So look on our website, or you can get it on the app, our core values and principles on the app. As you go through this 101 class, you go through this 201 class, I'm sure that'll be a part of it. I want to finish up, which by the way, how have I done? Yeah, are we good? Okay. All right. I want to finish up by talking about the commitment that we ask everybody whenever they sign up for OpenDoor Church. And that when we ask you, I've told everybody these are the 4 things that you can expect out of us. These are the 4 things I would like to expect out of you. If you're going to sign up to be a part of OpenDoor Church, say, nope, I'm a full-blown member. And again, there's a difference between being a member and being an attender. If you're going to be an attender, we have a place for you. And if you come once a month, once a year, if you come every single Sunday and just come in and watch us, man, we got something for you to see. And we're going to love you and we're going to bless you and you're going to see it. You sure are. But if you're going to move into being a member, you're moving into active participation of what it is that we're doing. And here's what I would like to ask out of you. There are 4 different things. The very first thing, when I go to membership commitment, is there's 4 of these things. Number 1, I'll protect the unity of my church. Okay, since our number 1 core value is unity makes us a conduit for God's power, I really and truly expect people to respect the unity. I have never, to my knowledge, in 25 years, have I got up from the pulpit and blasted anybody in the church, blasted any other church by name. I just don't do that. I've had a lot of reason to form mobs throughout the years, and I've had the right to form mobs throughout the years. And you can hold on to your rights, or you can hold on to King Jesus. And so I'm asking you this is what I'm saying, by acting in love towards other members, in refusing to gossip, by simply following the leaders, and by simply agreeing to never, ever form a mob against my family in Christ. That's how that works. If somebody comes to me and they accuse you of something, all right, if somebody comes to me and says, Pastor Roy, I got to tell you something about Kip. Kip, this. I'm going to ask you, have you talked that out with Kip? And if you tell me, no, I'm going to say, okay, that's not a me and you thing. That's a you and Kip thing, and that's not a me and you thing. Well, I don't like how she does this or she does that or whatever. I'm going to say, I do not care. If you come to me, let's just say if the phone rang and somebody says, man, I'm concerned about, Tabitha, I'm concerned about her, which happens all the time. I get those phone calls all the time. Yeah, Tabitha got her nose pierced. Every time she sneezes, it makes a horrible noise now. Sounds like a tiny little whale. Okay, so whatever that is, if somebody calls up here, I want to just tell you, you can expect me to defend you. Because I will defend you to the teeth. I promise you I will. And I'm not the go-to guy for that kind of stuff. And I don't want any of you guys to be the go-to guy for that kind of stuff. Yeah. So here's the next thing. I will share the responsibility of my church. How? By praying for its growth, by inviting the unchurched to attend, and by warmly welcoming those who visit. Those three things to actually take on and say, no, I'm going to pray for our church every single day. And I will invite people. I'm going to invite everybody I know to come be a part of this thing. Right on. Trusting us that we're going to treat them right. And then you take on the responsibility of wherever you sit at in the room, there are people sitting around you. And you got to bring Jesus to those people. You got to do that. If somebody makes it all the way in this church and nobody speaks to them, number one, I just don't see that happening. Okay? As a matter of fact, we've had to tell everybody, calm down. It's like a gauntlet of people. Like you're assaulting everybody as they come in the door. With that said, if somebody does come in here, and nobody blesses them, nobody smiles at them, nobody says anything to them, nobody loves on them, and if they get up here and if they leave here, they will first blame me for that, but they'll end up blaming God on that. That's what they'll end up doing. And so you have a very real responsibility, and wherever you're at, hey man, you talk to, hey, I don't know you. Who are you? What's going on? And it's like, that's not my responsibility, or that's not my personality. Well, if you're not brave enough to go talk to somebody, and you see nobody's talking to somebody, then go find somebody who is brave and point them out and say, my heart is really going out to that person, and I don't feel comfortable approaching them. But I just, like, what do you got? You got a word? You got a whatever? You want to pray for them? The Spirit of the Lord moved upon. What do you got? You find somebody and team up with somebody. Just say, hey man, I noticed you sitting here. And thank you for coming. And go out of your way to connect with that person. The third one is this. I will serve in the ministry of my church. How? I got to figure out who I am and what I'm supposed to do. Number two, by actually participating in some form of ministry here and by developing a servant's heart. All anybody has to do to get involved in any area of the church is find out who is in charge of that and go and talk to him and say, I want to be a part of this. And this is something, too, that I just want to kind of throw out there is this. Every single one of us that are a part of this thing, we all had to push our way in, didn't we? How many of y'all, I showed up at your house in a limo, walked you out to the limo, held your hand all the way to church and just said, I'm going to give you your minutes. Kip, obviously. And a lot of people are like, well, I've never really been invited. You're invited. Come be a part, but we're not going to beg you to do anything. And we're not going to show up at your house, knock on your door, walk you out, put you in a limo, take you here. Here's what's real is, jump in. They're like, well, I just kind of feel like I'm pushing my way in. You are. Please do. Keep on pushing and get in, man. Get in. The last one is this. I will support the testimony in my church. How? By attending church and small groups faithfully. By living a godly life. I always like to stop on living a godly life. If you're going to have an open door bumper sticker, you can't be flipping people off. And if that's you, quit it. No, quit it. Look at Daryl. Daryl's like, oh, please. Daryl feels so convicted right now. Do y'all see it? No, look, whenever we're saying freedom, we're not saying carnal. Mm-hmm. That's not what we're saying. Yeah. And it's one of the ways that you support the testimony of our church is that you really are going after this life, man. You really and truly are. Yes, you are attending church, small groups. The average active church member in America that is active church member goes once a month. Like, what? No, that's, I mean, if you did a poll and say, hey, do you regularly attend church? Oh yeah, I do. What's real is just a smidgen of those people actually do regularly attend church. What they actually mean is they're okay with the idea of going to church. That's what they actually mean. But if you get down to the actual regular attenders, they come once a month. Okay, we can be mad at that if you want to, or we can just go, well, that means if it takes 5,000 people, I should say this, that means that if it takes 1,000 people here on Sunday to do everything that we do throughout the week, if we have to activate 1,000 people, activate literally 1,000 people, then that means we have to have 4,000 regular attenders. That's what that means. And so, and it's actually, I'm going to tell you, it's actually higher than that. I'm giving a very conservative estimate on that is. We're blessed in that we typically have several thousand people here on the weekends, and I praise God for that, and tens, if not 100,000 people that watch us online. I praise God for that because we're trying to ignite the whole world. We're trying to do that. But I'm telling you, there has to be a huge mix of people in order for that many people to show up. And small failing churches do not understand that. And I get it and I believe it. Do you guys get it? Do you guys believe it? So here's what I'm asking you. If you're not going to just be an attender and you're actually going to be a member, I'm asking you to come. I'm asking you to make this part of your journey in King Jesus and actually coming. And then the last part of that is by giving regularly. As I close to talk about giving, I would just say this. People, I get in trouble anytime I preach on tithing. The people that believe in tithing think I'm the devil because I don't beat people up with it. And the people that don't believe in tithing think I'm the devil because I preach tithing. And as a matter of fact, the last time that I got up and talked about tithing, there was a family that I love with all my heart left and said, we will never come here. He goes, I had to apologize to my family, Troy, when we got out in the car over what you said about tithing. I've taught all my kids to tithe. And you got up and blasted tithing. I said, I did not get up and blast tithing. I got up and I blasted the religion of tithing. I did not get up and blast tithing. I'm a huge tither. Today, Leanna told me on the way in today, Troy, you know, we have to tithe this week. Yeah. I mean, and by the way, I'm just going to just say this to all my leadership. If you don't tithe here at Open Door Church, that really concerns me. Yeah. I mean, it really does. And I'm not the guy that's going to go and see if you give. I'm not the guy that's going to do that, but Jerry is. Jerry's going to go and say, well, like, whoa, wait. I mean, I just said that on camera. What? Really and truly? Your heart's in, but your treasure's not? No. I mean, that's just not how it works. So it concerns me that you say you're all the way in, but you don't tithe. Wow. Okay. So I just have a million issues with that. And I'm like, really? Well, let's just talk about what our commitment is here, right? I would say this for everybody that's watching live right now and say this. Tithing is not just an Old Testament principle, it is actually a New Testament principle. Jesus just took it for granted that everybody would tithe because he said, when you tithe. He didn't talk about are you going to tithe? He just said, when you pray. So do you think everybody's going to pray? He said, when you fast. He thought everybody was going to fast. He said, and when you tithe. This is how that works. And so it was just such a given in the culture of King Jesus that he didn't even address it. You know, it's just like, but be sure that when you do, that's a between you and God thing, and that's not a between you and everybody else thing. That's why I don't look to see who gives. There are people here that's their job, is to count money and to put that in there. That's not my job, and I don't want it to be my job. I want to honor people, but I don't want to honor somebody that gives $100,000 and not honor a single mama that only gives $10. I don't want to do that. You know, we had a guy leave our church in 2010 or 11 that gave, I think he gave $10,000 or something. It was some huge amount of money, especially then, that was so huge. And then one day he just quit coming, and I saw him like a year later. I said, dude, how have you been? I'm so glad to see you. And that can be awkward for people since I'm the pastor, you know, so I never bring it up. Hey, where'd you go? What happened? You know, just, hey, I'm so glad to see you. He goes, well, I guess you want to know where I've been. I went, no, I'm just happy to see you. He goes, well, dude, Troy, I got to tell you. He goes, I got to tell you why I never came back. And I said, okay. And I was like, wow, this is going to be fun. That's what I woke up hoping would happen today. And I just went, okay. And he just said, man, dude, you know, I gave and gave and gave and gave and gave to your church, man. I gave and gave and gave. Well, not one time did you ever stand me up and recognize me. Not one time. And it really broke his heart. I mean, it really and truly did. It really broke his heart. He goes, man, Troy, you didn't ever one time stand me up and recognize me. Not one single time. And he caught me on a bad day because I told him what I thought about it. And I left there knowing two things. I left there knowing that you can serve people by honoring them, but you do that privately, and now we have people that actually do that. We want to make sure that we're serving the people that need to be served like that. But I'm not going to stand him up. If somebody gives me $1 million tomorrow, I am not going to march them across my stage and have us all clap for them unless I can find every single mama that gave $10 and it was like giving away $1 million and celebrate them at the same time.
Amen.
If somebody gave me $1 million and said, I want you to build a building, would I mind naming that building after them? You dang Skippy, I would. And I would love to do that. Would I mind having them there, cut the ribbon, and we all clap, just say, dude, you made this miracle come true. That's serving them. But I'm not going to go through all the finances and find out who the big givers are and who are. I don't want to see people like that. So this is what I'm saying. I'm saying give. I'm saying give because give faithfully as a discipline, because we give when we have the money and we give when we don't have the money. We still, every priority we have, we keep our priorities. If a ton of money is coming in or if a ton of money is not coming in. And I would hope that that's how all of our attenders are. I should say members, that all of our members are. Like, no, it's just part of signing up. I want to be a radical and crazy cool giver, and that's what I'm going to do. I do have to just say, though, that there's a difference between giving and tithing. And I just want to encourage you to seek that out and to learn that. Right on. Okay, so how'd I do? Excellent. Okay, well, I'm done. Yay. All right, so our hope and our prayer for everybody that's watching is that they will indeed become a member, right? And actually hook up with us. Hey, man, we're praying you in. Yes. You see this radical bunch of, this dream team I'm surrounded by? I prayed in all these people. Praying them all in. And I'm also praying you in. And I call you blessed in Jesus' name. If maybe you've never even gone to this church, but you see yourself as a member, like, no, that's my tribe, and you're already partnering with us in giving, and you know that you're a part of Saving Girls, or you know that you're a part of feeding people, or you know that you're a part of the prophetic ministry that we have, or whatever that is. Even though I've never seen you, I want to just tell you thank you, and just tell you I love you. And listen, if I knew you, we would be such big friends, and if you knew me, oh my God, you would love me. It would be your most favorite relationship you have with anybody. Why are y'all laughing at?
We're there.
No, but seriously, in all seriousness, man, I just want to tell you, there's some people that I run into all over the world, and they'll tell me, I'm a member of your church. Never been to Texas. They're like, I am a member of your church, Troy. I've been through the 101, I've been through the 201. I've signed up, and like we just had a team of people that came down from, what state did they come from? Indiana. They came down from Indiana, and they got some kind of a community group there, right? They're starting a community group in Indiana, one with a food bank. And if that's you and you're out there and you're doing that, yay for you. And if now you know you can do that, yes, you can do that. All right, listen, guys, be sure and like this, share this, be sure and pray for us. I hope that you guys will come out this coming Sunday and be a part of what we're doing. You know now what it is that we actually put into this. Until the next time I see you, I call you the head and not the tail, above and not beneath, and highly favored of the Lord. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye, y'all. Yay.